Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Choices, Finding Your Joy. Paula Vail here. I am so happy today to share just an awesome gentleman. He does so much for the world. I've had the honor of interviewing Richard Gordon several times on my radio shows over the last few years and just adore him and all that he does. So today we have with us Richard Gordon. He's a visionary, a best-selling author, founder of Quantum Touch organization. I'm so happy to have you, Richard. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Occasionally my cat Debbie just needs a lot of affection. So
Hi, Debbie. Welcome to the show. I love it.
She actually looks at you. You go, oh, who's that?
Well, Richard, how about giving the viewers a brief description of your background and what brought you to become the founder of the Quantum Touch organization?
In the early 70s, my health was getting bad. I went to a doctor. He said, you got a lot of symptoms, but let's wait till you get worse. I went to a holistic health school. I studied polarity therapy. I wrote a book on polarity therapy that's in 12 languages around the world. That book was a bestseller throughout the 1980s. And just a few months before that book came out, I met an older gentleman named Robert Rasmussen who showed me stuff that I couldn't believe my own eyes. He was just touching people and scoliosis was straightening out. All kinds of crazy stuff was happening. I apprenticed with him. I took over in his retirement. I wrote the book, Quantum Touch, The Power to Heal. It's in 17 languages. We've got certified practitioners in my work in over 50 countries around the world. And my book that followed that was Quantum Touch 2.0, The New Human, showing a handful of new human abilities. My fourth book will be out in June called The Secret Nature of Matter. And I've made some outlandish discoveries based on everything I had learned, how we can understand the intersection of consciousness and matter in an empirical way. And we just did a double-blind research study on Sunday, which is just a couple days ago, and we got great results. And we're showing empirically that the mind is not confined to the brain, and I'm jumping way ahead, but let's take it from the beginning.
The mind is not confined to the brain. Oh my gosh, that's fascinating. I love that. Oh.
Most people are really interested in how this work can help them personally, how it helps to reduce pain and to accelerate the healing process. And that's where most of Quantum Touch has been for all the years. We had a study done just a few months ago for people with chronic pain or acute pain. So we had 41 people in the study with 50 pain conditions, and they each received one Quantum Touch session, and the average reduction in their pain was 67.4%. And that correlated with a double blind that was done a number of years ago. As a small study which showed people with severe musculoskeletal pain had a 63% reduction in pain, and a little clinical study I had done years before that on the men's basketball team at the University of California, Santa Cruz, where I didn't have much time to work, but an average 10-minute session brought the pain down by 50% from injuries that were happening on the spot, and the coach was blown away that this was happening. So this is a little bit about it.
Yes. So for the viewers out there, Richard, that have never heard of Quantum Touch, can you give a brief description?
Of course.
Thanks.
Yeah. The Quantum Touch system works not with any kind of woo-woo or special attunements or magic symbols or anything like this. It works because we are beings who, I think we're spiritual beings, and we operate with a life force energy, this animating current that flows through us. And through very simple breathing and body awareness exercises, where you're moving awareness through your body and you're linking it to your breathing. It's not just the breathing, it's not just the body awareness, it's the synergy of the breathing with the body awareness that lets us raise our own vibrational energy field. And and people say, well, how do you know it's not a placebo? Well, aside from the fact that it works on infants and animals and people under general anesthesia, on plants, fluids, and even some minerals, I understand the secret, the subtext of placebos. You see, a placebo suggests that the body has an extraordinary self-healing mechanism that doesn't get discussed very much. And it gets dismissed because, yes, you've got this amazing self-healing mechanism, but you had to use suggestion or deception or dishonesty to trigger it. Well, there's another way of triggering self-healing, and that's through the existence of life force energy, that prana, that chi, that ki. And so by using the breathing body awareness, we raise our vibration really high, and the other person has to match your vibration. You don't come down to match them. You never feel tired or drained at the end of a session. You always keep lifting your vibration higher and higher, and they eventually come up to match you. So when this woman, Joanne Boyer, was doing sessions as the chief anesthesiologist, nurse anesthesiologist at a hospital, and occasionally a patient would have their blood oxygen level crashing, which could lead to strokes, to death, or coma. And she walked over to the patient the first time. She puts her hands on the patient, starts doing my energy work, and the blood oxygen level shot right back up. And goes, oh, that's good. And she started walking away, and it started crashing again. Oops, I guess I need to do it longer. So she went back, put her hands back on, and the blood oxygen level went up. Well, under general anesthesia, placebos don't work, but we're accessing the body intelligence and the spiritual intelligence of the body, not through suggestion, deception, or dishonesty. We're doing it through that application of life force energy. And because the modern scientists today generally will not look at something they don't believe is possible, their logic, it can't be true because it isn't possible. But that isn't open-minded, and that isn't scientific. So I really appreciate the open-minded ones who are willing to look through, I'll use the analogy of Galileo's telescope, because back in Galileo's time, which happened to be exactly 400 years ago now, yes, there were those who would look through the telescope and say, well, it obviously doesn't work during the day. I mean, it doesn't work at night. It works great during the day, but not at night. And there were those who refused to look altogether. But there was a rare group who would look and say, explain optics to me, and how do I get one of these, and can I look again? They were willing to examine the evidence empirically. And for those willing to examine the evidence, I'm there. Oh, I'm right there. I'll show you all day long. Yes. This is real. Yes. So we've got something empirically obvious. It's just a matter of getting people to be willing to look at it and to experience it.
Yes. I love it. I love it. And I would love you to share. I have to share with everything, with everyone, something so beautiful. This is Richard's pendant. Richard, tell the viewers about your amazing.
Okay, let's get a little close-up on this thing.
Yes, yes. I love mine. I give it Reiki, Richard. I Reiki it.
Well, yes, that's great. So this is the Quantum Touch pendant, and it is the result of 58 experiments that I recently conducted. And it started on Thanksgiving of 2015, when a friend told me that if you made a movie of yourself doing healing, that it would be recorded on the video. So I started making movies of myself doing healing. And the only way I could really get a positive yes or no answer was with something I call SPA, spontaneous postural alignment. Now, cranial bones supposedly are fused together when you're an adult, and the hip bones don't move unless you put them on their side and crunch them. So if I can get both of them to move spontaneously, which is chapter 19 of my last book, Quantum Touch 2.0, The New Human, I called it visible magic, the ability to align people at a distance without touching them. So I made a movie of myself meditating to do that. And then I had people watch the movie, and it started aligning people going, no, this shouldn't be happening. I was like really surprised that it would work. Then I started running a whole series of experiments. And one experiment, which is sort of a landmark, I just played golf that morning. I had a golf tee in my pocket. And I thought, what if I put the intention into this physical object? And I handed it to somebody, and it untwisted them. So I had to test everything. Metal, plastic, rubber, paper, a leaf, you name it. Every kind of physical object. Everything held energy equally, because all matter is made of subatomic God stuff. And all God stuff holds consciousness. So everything is alive with consciousness. Then I ran energy into water. And what would happen with water? People take a sip of the water and they're instantly untwisted. But what if you boil the water? Well, I boiled the water and I let it cool and I put it in a little vial and I handed it to somebody and it untwisted them. Wow. Okay. What if I take the water that had evaporated at the top of the lid and collect it? No, it didn't work. The evaporation and condensation process caused it to erase the memory. So these are some of the experiments that I ran. And when I got to experiment 38, that's when I had, like, my head exploded. What happened was I had a woman and she was standing beside a table. Her hips were really twisted. It's just like obvious. It's like a yes or no answer.
Yeah.
And I put 15 pennies on the table behind her. And they were about 3 to 4 inches apart from one another. And I meditated on penny number 1 to give it the energy charge to cause her to align. And I measured her again, and she was still misaligned. So I wanted to make sure I hadn't accidentally aligned her. I reached way down, pulled out penny number 15, handed it to her, and she was instantly aligned. And I got upset. I said, no, it's not supposed to work that way. This is not supposed to happen. I'm trying to find out what the parameters of this thing are.
Yeah.
And so then my thought was, well, did it move like fire in gasoline? Flame across gasoline? Well, if that was true, then the table would be charged and the walls, the floors, the ceiling, and everybody in the coffee shop would be aligned right now. But I knew that wasn't true. So I came up with a new theory. And the theory is something I call conscious entanglement. And I was at a conference the next day. I met 2 women who both were very much misaligned. So it's really easy to see. And I borrowed a handful of change, not because I was poor, but just so that I wasn't making sure that I had already put my own energy into it. And I looked at the coins. And when I looked at the coins, I said to myself, I see pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. I see all the coins in my hand. I see them all. They're all here. I see all of them. That's entanglement. I grouped them together in consciousness. I put them on a table, handed them each 1 coin. I took out a charged coin from my pocket, tapped one of the coins on the table, and both women were instantly untwisted. And because whatever happens to any one of them happens to all of them. And I tested this up and down all different kinds of ways, had other people entangling them and so forth.
Yes.
And that was so exciting to me to see that I could join objects together in my mind. That led me to the idea of creating a pendant that is both charged and entangled. So what I did was we had these manufactured,
yes.
And then I took them all and I entangled the whole group of them together very carefully. It took quite a while to get them really deeply entangled. Then I charged them with my best energy, and I also put in the intention that if you just touch somebody with one, it'll permanently untwist their posture.
Really? Really?
And so then I sent them out to our top 50 instructors around the world, and they asked them to put their best energy into it, and they did. And before I knew it, we had sales like crazy. We sold out, and then we bought some more, and then we sold out of those, and we bought some more, and we sold out of them. Again, we have them in stock right now briefly, but we don't know how long that's going to last.
Yes.
And so the idea of a charged, entangled object is here now. Well, and I'm hearing crazy healing stories from people about these objects.
Oh, here's some.
A friend and I were taking a walk. He had stubbed his toe so badly that morning. After a couple miles, he said, I don't even know if I can walk anymore. It hurt so bad. I said, well, take your pendant and put it on your toe. He was wearing sandals. He said, really? I said, yeah. So he puts the pendant on his toe, and within 10 seconds, he says, oh my God, I feel this being flooded with energy right now. And then 2 minutes later, he says, I'm comfortable now. And then within 5 minutes, he said, I can't even feel my toe anymore.
Oh my God.
We started walking after 2 minutes, and as we're walking, then the big one that happened right soon after that, I was in Cancun, Mexico at a retreat. And this wonderful guy was telling me that as a teenager, he was a jerk and he got into a lot of fights. And he said, I haven't been able to breathe through my right sinus in 15, 20 years. I said, well, all right, hold a pendant on both sides of your nose. I handed him a couple pendants and he held them up. Within 5 minutes, he was breathing comfortably. And then 2 women did it with their TMJ. Another woman did it with pain under her eyes. And we're getting story after story. The story that really cracked me up last week was somebody in China. The kitten was born with a bent tail, and now the cat was an adult. And somebody just took the pendant, ran it down its spine all the way to the end of the tail a number of times. I don't know the time frame, but the cat's tail straightened out, completely straightened out. And we're hearing phenomena happening with these things that just astound me, that you can actually put your love. So when people get a new pendant, it really needs to be activated with your own consciousness. You have to have some level of intent. So if you put it on a spot that hurts, or you can just hold it and just infuse it with your love and gratitude. And now your energy is being added to the energy of about 3,000 people right now who are all putting their energy in. And this thing actually gets stronger each day, because when I wake up in the morning, there were people who are just plugging it with energy in China and Europe and all over the world, because we got people working in over 50 countries doing quantum touch work. And so it becomes a new thing that hasn't existed before, in my understanding, which is a charged and entangled talisman that gets stronger every day.
Wow. So it's getting stronger every day. And okay, so with this pendant, I know it's getting stronger every day. I've given it my energy, my love. So I can use this to bring myself healing. I mean, I feel good when I wear it. I want to wear it every day. And I can use it for others. I can use it for my pets. I just would lay it on them or brush them with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so here's what happened on Sunday. This is brand new news. We did a triple blind study where somebody was flipping a coin. Somebody is holding a charged coin and an uncharged coin, but they didn't know which coin they were holding. And the flip of the coin was to decide which coin person you were going to see. The person with the coin had 20 seconds of instruction. Tap this person with the intent of untwisting their posture, but they didn't know anything about how to untwist posture. And then I was also not knowing the results of the coin flip, or which person had the charged coin. And I put my fingers on top of the hip bones. And then my friend Peter had a ruler with a laser measuring device that measures the distance to the ceiling. And we took 15 to 20 measurements of each person, had them walk around, come back over and over, till we could get sets of measurements that were within 2 or 3 millimeters of being exactly the same. We wanted to get matching sets. And then after the person was tapped, they'd come back, and then we'd get lots and lots of measurements so we could get exactly matching measurements. They'd put their feet in the same position. We measured the distance of the ceiling. And what we showed was that we were not only untwisting people, but there was a twist to the twist, which is that a lot of the people had their left hip turn and the right hip stayed relatively same. And sometimes the right hip would come down a little bit to match the left. Most times the left would turn up to match the right. But we would never have known that had we not done these laser measurements. So what we're showing is the mind is not confined to the brain, that energy healing is real, that your love has a physical impact on the outer reality, and all of this strongly implies that we are spiritual beings.
yes. Yes. Now, here's a question. Viewers may be wondering, with so many people's energy in this pendant, what if someone has negative energy?
Oh, yeah. Somebody's totally depressed and filled with self-pity and angry and all that. Well, the hurt and the anger is just microscopic compared to the power of the love. And if your intent is to connect with the love and the healing, it's overwhelmingly there in the pendant. Now, if you use the pendant to say, okay, I really want to feel depressed and sorry for myself, I'm sure you can find that in there. But I don't know anybody who's ever tried to do that technique. That's not my favorite idea. But the love is so available. The vibration of healing is so available. And we're getting stories pretty much every day now about wild stuff that's happening with these pendants. But now our practitioners are using the pendant while they're doing sessions. They're holding the pendant in their hand while they're doing distant healing sessions and getting better results. And they're placing the pendant on places that need healing while they're running energy. That's what we call the process of doing the breathing body awareness in quantum touch, is that we work the energy in the system, and the pendant is an adjunct. And we're going to be making a new announcement probably in about 2 or 3 months about something that will follow the pendant. So stay tuned. There's going to be something else coming that's going to be really useful for healing sessions with the same energy of the pendants. So that's coming along.
Another show.
Stay tuned.
I love it. I mean, this is huge when you think about it. Oh my gosh, what this can do for people and for others, you know, their pets and other people they know. This is just.
But when you consider the vast majority of Americans over 50 take aspirin every day, how much pain is there going around that people could be helping themselves with? And so we're looking to do a few more studies really soon. One study we want to do, and we're just trying to get this set up right now, but we're all going through IRBs, investigation review boards. This is just like, I'm just doing it amateur style. What we're looking to do is take before and after blood tests of quantum touch sessions and measure the inflammatory factors in the blood. And then we'll be taken a little more seriously. We're also looking to use the pendants on people with high levels of inflammation and take the blood test for those. And we'll have a placebo pendant as well, so that we'll see how it works. And this will be blinded as well. So we're really looking at the science now. And if anybody wants to help our crowdfunding science campaigns, just get on the Quantum Touch website. We'll on the newsletter, and we'll fill you in, because we're looking to do some very important groundbreaking science that could change fundamental beliefs about reality. And so it's expensive, but it's so worthwhile compared to all the BS that happens at a lot of these universities where they just throw money away, looking at the same unworkable solutions, like trying to poison a disease, hoping the disease dies before the patient. We're actually going to do something that has all the positive benefits and none of the negative ones.
This is so exciting. And, you know, and I keep thinking about the more pendants out there, the more healing energy out there.
Yeah.
And what that can do for the world, you know, that's huge.
We're just at the earliest stages of this.
Yeah.
I mean, and my new book, The Secret Nature of Matter, which will be out in June, this opens the doors to fundamental new understandings about reality. And I even came up with a new Turing test. You know what the Turing test is? The Turing test was conceived of by Alan Turing, the inventor of the modern day computer. And he thought that one day computers would be so smart, they'd be like your best friend. So every year they have a test to see if a computer can fool a person into thinking they're talking to a real person. But that doesn't mean the computer knows itself. And this famous futurist, Ray Kurzweil, says there's no way to know if an entity is self-conscious. It's only self-conscious to itself. And there's all this talk about artificial intelligence and smart robots and stuff. But I have a way to tell if an entity is self-conscious to itself. And it's the simplest test in the world. All you have to do is, if a machine is capable of untwisting pelvic and occipital torsion, in other words, straightening out posture, from another room without any human intervention, it has the ability to desire, to have intent, to have imagination, to have a connection to its spiritual self. It has a lot of human qualities, and I would acknowledge, yep, there's an entity in there. But if it can't, it's just a smart toaster. It doesn't know itself. The chess program can say, yippee, I won, when it won the game, but it doesn't know itself. It doesn't care. It's, at best, a psychopath, because it has no compassion, remorse, empathy, or understanding of what it means to be human.
Wow. Wow. It's just so fascinating. It really is. You just must have so much excitement and so much fun every day
Well,
And
it's an adventure because
yeah.
we're breaking new ground in a very powerful way. And then the challenge is, how do people become aware
Mhm.
of their real power in their gifts, and then utilize it to not just bring healing and well-being to themselves, their family, and their pets and such, but how do we change the dominant belief system of the culture? Because Rupert Sheldrake, the famous botanist, and had his TED Talk tape temporarily taken down for suggesting that materialism in science is something that the scientists absorb as a form of intellectual osmosis, that they automatically just assume that everything in the world can be reduced to math and physics.
Yes.
But what we're showing is that your love actually has impact on the outer reality, that your love actually matters and is valuable.
Yeah.
Now, conversely, if you think about it, who hurt you the most in your life? If you think about that person, what was the subconscious message they gave you? Your love wasn't valuable. Your love didn't matter. Your love didn't have any impact. That's the cruelest thing you can say to someone. But when you realize on a very physical, physiological level, your love is impacting somebody, and it doesn't matter how far away they are. They could be on the other side of the world, and your love is still right there, right now. Now, a lot of people who are kind of like transitioning from a materialistic perspective talk about the electromagnetic field of the heart. Like, well, we have this field, but magnetism, like light, falls off inversely to the square of the distance of the source. That means if you're 7 feet away, there's half as much light as there is at 5 feet. Well, square of 525, 7 is 49. So that means that you'd only love a person half as much if they're 7 feet away as you do 5 feet away. And the only way to really love them is just be right there with them. That's silliness. That's ridiculous. But that's the materialistic view of the electromagnetic field of the heart. Now, there's some really good research going on in that direction, but there's so much more than that, because we're spiritual beings, not just electromagnetic beings.
We're spiritual beings.
That is really what the essence of it is. And so toward the latter part of my new book, I lay out like 25 arguments, reasons, directions. I don't have the right word for it, but points of view that strongly suggest that we're spiritual beings. You see, you can't prove it, and that's okay. But you could say, well, here's this interesting indication, and here's this indication, and this one, and this one, and this one, and you stack them all up.
Yes.
And then it goes, well, maybe there's this mountain of evidence that says, yeah, we're spiritual beings. Now get over it. Because love and compassion are the only things that will solve the world's problems. Not having bigger weapons, not having more power. It's compassion. People respond to love. And there's not one child that could ever be hungry if compassion was our priority. It just is the answer to our questions, which is higher levels of compassion.
Richard, I hate to interrupt you. We've run out of time. Oh my gosh.
Well, I knew it would go fast.
We could go for an hour. Please, before we say goodbye, will you share your website information with the viewers?
Sure, it's quantumtouch.com.
Quantumtouch.com. I love it. Oh, Richard, this has been so great. We will do another show, everyone, when Richard's next book comes out, and he can share that surprise he promised, his latest work. Richard, I just love having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Hey, Paula, it's a real pleasure. And say goodbye to Debbie also.
Oh, bye. Bye, sweetheart. Give her a kiss for me.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, everyone.
Bye.